70 people, and I guarantee you, everybody walked in, and the interior discussion was, I thought it was the only one. Where did all these people come from? I guarantee you it's a lot more than that today in Colorado. But they're not here. They didn't hear about it. They're doing what Scott said. So we've got to keep not only measuring who we are by who we physically see, but realize the message has to get out. There are people doing what we're doing all over the country, all over the world. The value of IDEA and idec is we're starting to find each other. So, two things. Keep searching for the connections, but also don't do it alone, so that you're free to not either be here or not here. You're always here, even if you're physically not.
The other piece of this is that bringing communities together this way is also about discovering shared values. Arnie's story about creating a shared experience is the kind of opportunity that allows us to discover shared values. As people begin to talk, they realize that they agree with each other. When they agree with each other, they decide that they need to really change perceptions. And when they change their perceptions, they can begin to act. So the only way to really understand shared values in order to let that happen is to give people something to do. And you do this, it might be a very small thing. It might be a task about just coordinating what it means to do something. But in the process, people demonstrate the value that they have in the accomplishments they're creating. You can take those values and express them in order to create communities that generate the social capital you need to create social change. Little things, one step at a time.
Outside Zach.
Inside Zach.
Inside Zach. Inside, outside, outside.
Hi. So I think in systems and I think in practicalities. So I think we could do today, because these all sound great and they sound like they will take some time and you get something. We could create a calendar where every organization that's represented in the room, we put up every event that happens for their organization. So everybody who's interested in progressive education in Colorado knows where to go. We could also very easily build like a Google site, or we could build a WordPress blog that all these organizations have access to as authors. So you could write about the great things that you're doing. And that can be done, I could do it in a couple of minutes. But I think that's the easy stuff that we don't do because we're thinking about, well, what are our shared values? And those are important. And we can do this while we're doing that. And so I think that's a piece that is definitely doable. The second piece is we have a lot of differences. As much as we have in common, we have a lot of differences. And Haley's visible to me. There she is.
Hi, sorry.
Hi. And Haley talked about that as well. I think that there's importance about going to those events of other falling down. There's importance of going to the events of those other organizations that we might not align with perfectly. And in doing this as often as possible. Who made the point of not everybody's going to be in the room at the same time? That's great. Yes. If we keep waiting for everybody to schedule it for us, then we'll wait until the end of time. That's all I have to say.
Go ahead, Marty.
I was waiting because I kept waiting for the idea to become fully formed so I can articulate it really well. But in case I can't, I'm going to try. I think that there's some sort of power in what we do with individual connections and relationships. I mean, I look at Laura, we just happened to meet while we were waiting for something. And to me, if we each think about connecting individually with people as much as we can in as many different places as we can, it's also a way that we can connect with people we may not be in the same. Well, our tribe was talking about how people at the other end, which we might characterize as right wing, are also against some of the things that we're against. And I think that as individuals, you can often find that common ground, but when you're in a group, it's much harder. So I was thinking about hives and social media and some sort of ways that we commit to connect with as many individuals as we can, just as individuals.
Just as a kind of throw another input in, I was just recently in New York with Pedro Noguera. I don't know how many of you know Pedro Noguera's work, educator in New York City. And he said, it was two interesting things. He he was on President Obama's transition team, and there was a lot of disappointment about how that happened. And he was addressing a room full of youth organizers and educators, and he basically said, like, how come we don't talk about politics? And how come we don't talk about values? And his point, having been doing this work for like 40 years, is we're spending a lot of time talking about soft things, but we're not talking about politics and strategy. And if we actually care about the things that we're talking about, why aren't we talking about those things? Why are we scared to talk about them? And the values is because he's watched like 35 different coalitions and organizations over time, national and statewide, in which people get their campaign. Sounds like there's a concurrent legislative issue that needs everybody's attention and focus. And right on for building a campaign where everybody slaps their logos on and goes to work. But his larger point is that what happens is you get into a campaign moment, and then something goes sideways, and everything starts to shake a little, and the coalition that was built in a day with 200 logos disappears because it didn't take the time to get values right. At the same time, we spend all our time talking about values and we don't actually go hammer some nails and build some wood and do something, and never get anything done. I don't know Colorado as well as all of you. Like, what's the story there? Where's the politics? Where's the strategy? Where's the game plan? Like, are you all beat down and just done?